Well, hey there. I'm going to show you how to do my Idocrase stitch. And this is it here. And let's get it in the light better so you can see it. And I can pull it a little bit so you can see the pattern more too. There. That's what it looks like. Okay, so that gives you a better look at it because it's hard to see it like that. And then here's what the back looks like. Not using any purls. This is a stitch video, so I'm not going to give you a project from start to finish, but I will give you some tips so you can make something by learning the stitch. I did a crochet chain cast on. That'll be on my channel. Scroll down in the description on the video and you'll see a link for this cast on and for the matching cast off. Okay, and then I did an owl eye border, 2 rows of owl eye, and I'm using an owl eye border, and I'll show you how to do the owl eye border at the end. But for the owl eye stitch, you'd have to look on my channel at the stitch videos if you don't know how to use them. I have plenty of stitch videos on my channel, and I have owl eye and a stitch video in a lot of projects. Okay, but besides the edge and the sides, I will not be using owl eye in the rest of the project, so you will have to go look there. The loom I'm using is a 44 peg Cindywood loom, 5/8 inch gauge. Okay, and the yarn I'm using is a bulky yarn. It's I Love This chunky yarn. The color is Sunset. And it's an acrylic yarn sold at Hobby Lobby. Okay, the loom hook, you can get a very similar loom hook on Etsy. It's a acrylic type form. Okay, and that's it then. Okay, so I'm using, well here, I'm using 2 stitch markers on each end for my edge. So I remember that these are the stitches. And these markers that I'm using, they're just the small needle knitting silicone markers. And I just get them on Etsy in packages. Most economical way to get them. And they fit perfect on the Cindywood looms. Okay. So it's a 2-row pattern. And I've just done my edge, so I'm ready to do the first row. So cast on, I did 2 rows of owl eye, and then I started with my stitches. Okay, so here's the first one. The first one is my roses and chains stitch. So you go over in a U-wrap and knit it off. You come back in a U-wrap, knit it off, and you go forward again in a U-wrap and knit it off. And make sure you have it loose, because if you pull too tight, you're never going to get that off. You want to be able to see it looking like this when you knit it off. See this white space here? You want it to look like that so it's easy to knit off. Okay, so U-knit, come back in another U-knit, and come back in another U-knit. Okay, over, a little bit tight. Try not to get too tight. And 3. So pretty easy to do so far, isn't it? 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. And then we're doing the edge, so we do an owl eye edge here just by doing this. You stay nice and loose, and I'm coming back here, and you can do any edge you want. I'm just giving you an edge. while I'm doing this stitch video, just so you can go ahead and do a project. And then I do my second wrap. Okay, row 2 is my snakes and ladder stitch. So you're going to go over in a U-wrap. You're going to come back again in a U-wrap. You're going to go under the yarn, scoop up that working yarn, pull it down, and then just flip it over the peg and tighten. So you're going to go over in a U-wrap, knit it off, come back around in a U-wrap again, put the hook under the yarn, scoop it up, flip it over. And you just tighten it slightly. You want to make sure it's loose enough for you to knit over. And this stitch can get tight pretty fast if you're not careful. So U-wrap, come back around, under, scoop it up, and put it over the peg. Okay, so knit, come around again in a unit again, under, scoop it up. Okay, so first part of the stitch is U-wrap, you knit it off. Second, you come around, and this stitch is called a purl over, named by Teresa Higby. You put your hook down here, scoop it up, and flip it over. Okay, so knit, and it is nothing like a purl. It's actually, you're coming under and you're doing it like a knit, and then you're flipping it over. Okay, so people get confused sometimes, so don't think of it like a purl stitch, because it's not. Okay, and then we go do the edge just like you're watching me do it. You can always slow down the video too. There's a gear, and it will slow it down for you. So I did my second stitch. Now I'm back on row 1. And row 1 is the roses and chain stitch. So you go over in a U-wrap, you come back again, and you come over again, knit it off, over, come back, over again, over, come back, over again. Very easy stitch to do. And one more. Okay, now the edge, this time I'll show you slower how I'm doing it. Go over in a U-wrap, knit it off, nice and loose, come over both of them, keeping it loose, knit them off, come back around, knit them both, nice and loose, and then do your second wrap around here, and you're ready to go back this way. And now when we go this way, we're doing the snakes and ladder stitch. You come over and knit it, come back over, under, scoop up the yarn, and it goes flipping over and slightly tightened. Okay, knit, come over and flip it over and tighten. Okay, knit, come over, flip it over and tighten. When you get used to doing this stitch, it's not hard to do at all. And I've done a bag all in this snakes and ladders stitch. It's an awesome stitch. Looks completely different in the flat panel than it does in the round. In the round, it looks more like the ladders, and in the flat panel, it looks more like the snakes. Okay, and that's the last one. And then we come over here, do a U-wrap, come around, wrap them both nice and loose, and knit it off, and come back nice and loose. And you can always loosen this to keep your sides nice and loose. And there we go. Let's take a look at this. It's gotten bigger now, so let's just stretch it out so you can see the stitches better. And here we go. See if we can get a little more light on this. There we go. There's what it looks like. It's a really nice stitch. It's got lots of texture. If I go like this, maybe if I go like this, you can see the texture more. Very nicely textured stitch. There. You can see it better. It's really quite pretty. It looks pretty close to the same in the round. It just gives you a really, really interesting stitch. I actually quite like it in this yarn. It gives it a lot of character. So there you go. That is Idocrase Stitch. There's the back. And how does it look upside down if you're wearing it in a scarf or something the other way? There it is again. Looks really nice that way too. Okay, so there you go. I hope you enjoy doing this stitch as much as I do. You can tell by looking at it that it's a nice tight stitch, so it'd be great for blankets, great for purses, great for anything where you want that tight stitch, good for a scarf, cowl, hat, and any place you want to have all that texture. And it also makes your yarn being pretty nice and thick, as well as giving it the texture. If you did it with a really thin yarn, it would be a little bit looser like this, because I'm pulling it, but it's still fairly tight stitch. You're never going to get too lacy with it. Okay, so until next time, bye.